You know, if you really want to understand a machine, to get right to its heart, you have to look past all the shiny chrome and the fancy paintwork. You got to dig a little deeper, right into its paper soul. So, where do you find a car's real story? It's probably not in some pristine showroom under perfect lighting. You might think it's in the workshop, right? Under the glare of a single bulb with the mechanic's grease-stained hands. But honestly, even that doesn't give you the whole picture. The real answer, well, it's in the paperwork. It's in the documents that actually brought the car to life in the first place and, just as importantly, kept it on the road for years and years. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to piece together the secret history of a classic Volvo using nothing but its original technical documents. Okay, let's pop the hood. Our map for this expedition is the official Volvo P120 parts catalog for the B16 engine. And trust me, this is so much more than just a boring list of parts. It's like a blueprint of brilliance. I mean, just look at this diagram of the cylinder block. This isn't some modern CAD drawing. These were drawn by hand. It's this beautiful exploded view where you can see everything, every single bolt, every washer, every gasket, all laid out with this incredible precision. This is the heart of the engine, and it's almost like a piece of art. And then there's this. Wow. This is the crankshaft assembly. And it's like a mechanical ballet, completely frozen in time. You can almost feel the motion of the pistons and the connecting rods. It's pretty clear these diagrams weren't just for mechanics. They were a testament to the pride Volvo took in its engineering. And here, this is basically the engine's nervous system. You've got the camshaft with its perfectly shaped lobes, pushing the rods, rocking the arms, and opening the valves at the exact right millisecond. It's a whole symphony of mechanical timing, all captured in simple, stark, black and white lines. But here's the interesting part. These documents don't just show how things are supposed to work. They also tell these fascinating stories about when things went wrong. So let's shift gears from the big picture and zoom way, way in on a little detective story about one tiny but absolutely crucial component. Okay, check this out. This is a real service bulletin from 1958, straight from the archives. And like any good mystery, it starts with a problem. Reports are starting to trickle in from Volvo dealers about charging irregularities. Basically, the dynamos in their PV and P1200 models, they just weren't working right. And this document lays out the whole investigation, step by step. First, you have the problem, inconsistent charging. Then, the cause. After some digging, the culprit was found to be, get this, too much paraffin wax in the original carbon brushes. So the solution was a brand new, improved brush. And the final step? The fix for mechanics out in the field. Swap out the old brushes and, this is the brilliant part, put a little green paint dot on the dynamo. And buried right there in the text is this tiny detail that I just love. The number 1.6. You know what that is? That's the number of hours a mechanic could bill for the warranty work. It's such a small thing, but it completely grounds this entire engineering story in the real world of somebody's job, their time, and their money. And that little spot of green paint, it was so much more than just a mark. It was basically a silent conversation between the factory in Sweden and a mechanic hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away. It said, hey, this one's fixed. This one's got the good parts. Just a simple, brilliant piece of communication to ensure the car would be reliable for the long haul. Now, what's really amazing is that this story doesn't just end in the 1950s. Not even close. These documents actually created this incredible, unbroken chain of knowledge that stretched for decades. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so look at these two images side by side. On the left, we have the oil filter diagram from that original 1950s P120 catalog. And on the right, that's from a specialist parts catalog printed in 2003. We're talking nearly 50 years apart, and it's practically the identical drawing. The design, the part numbers, the whole visual language. It's a legacy, perfectly preserved in ink. And that 2003 catalog, it comes from this company, CVI Automotive in Sweden. These guys, they essentially became the keepers of the classic Volvo flame. Their entire business was built directly on these historical documents, using them as their Bible to supply parts for these classic cars well into the 21st century. And here's the proof, right here in this 2003 price list. Just look at those part numbers. Cylinder head gasket,
4308. Oil filter insert, 43984-1. Those are the exact same numbers you'd find in those original, hand-drawn diagrams from the 50s. This legacy wasn't just some cool, nostalgic thing. It was tangible, practical, and still being used decades later.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it becomes really clear that these old manuals and service bulletins are so much more than just technical instructions. They really represent a whole philosophy. And this quote from a vintage ad for Volvo parts just says it all. Remember that genuine Volvo spare parts are the same parts as those used in production. Think about that. The promise wasn't just that a replacement part would fit. It was that the part you bought was identical in quality to the one built into the car at the factory. It's a commitment to authenticity that's literally written on every page we've looked at. So, what have we really learned from this dive into Volvo's paper soul? Well, that a car's true story really does live in its documentation, that technical diagrams can absolutely be works of art, that every little part and every bulletin tells a story of a problem that got solved, and that when you do it right, these documents create a tangible, usable legacy that can last a lifetime. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, if a simple car engine holds this kinds of stories about design and problem solving and legacy, what other secrets are hiding in plain sight in the blueprints of all the other everyday machines that surround us?